Dun 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 dun.
Hee hee, I love swimming.
Shark!
Hi, I'm Bobby, and welcome to Dusty Movies. Today we're talking about one of my all-time favorites, Jaws.
Dun dun.
Did you hear something? Jaws was even my favorite ride at the Universal Studios theme park.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, why am I scaring myself? This is Chicago. There are no shark attacks in Chicago.
Dun 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 dun.
But we do have the occasional boating accident. Peter Benchley had been thinking for years about writing a story about a killer shark and what would happen if it came into a resort community and then wouldn't go away.
Then, in 1964, shark fisherman Frank Mundus caught a 17.5-foot long and 4,500-pound great white shark off of Long Island. Mundus attached buoyant barrels to the shark to tire him out, and it took 5 hours, 4 barrels, and 5 harpoons to get him.
When Peter Benchley read about that in the newspaper, he thought, wow, what if that shark came in and wouldn't go away? Then Doubleday, the publishing company, gave him $1,000 advance to turn it into a book. Peter Benchley spent 5 days on Frank Mundus's boat, the Cricket II, doing research, drawing inspiration from Frank Mundus's shark hunting techniques and from his eccentric personality. Peter Benchley created the novel Jaws.
Producers Richard Zanuck and David Brown bought the film rights and hired the young Steven Spielberg to direct. Spielberg wanted to make the film as realistic as possible and decided to shoot on location on the island of Martha's Vineyard and on the real Atlantic Ocean instead of using a tank. They also brought on old-time special effects man Bob Matty, who had done the giant squid in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and the animals on the Disney Jungle Cruise ride. Matty used air pressure for the insides and a crane to make the mechanical shark come to life. However, production did not go swimmingly.
The Screen Actors Guild contracts were about to expire, and Universal Studios was concerned that there might be a strike, so they rushed Jaws into production. Casting wasn't finished, the shark wasn't finished, and the script wasn't finished. Also, filming on the ocean was harder than anyone imagined. There was wind. There was waves.
Local people's boats would accidentally go into frame, and it often took an hour for them to get out of camera range.
Also, the choppy salt water constantly messed with the mechanics of the shark, causing it to almost always be broken down. Jaws went 104 days over schedule and $4 million over budget, and no one had any idea that they were working on one of the biggest movies of all time.
The movie removes the book's subplots and is a straightforward shark story. A 25-foot great white shark goes to the waters of Amity Island and starts chowing down. Chief Brody wants to protect the people and close the beaches, but Mayor Vaughn and several townspeople insist that the beaches stay open so that the tourists will keep spending their money. Several fishermen try to catch the shark for the reward money, but they fail, and the shark keeps munching. Ultimately, the grizzly shark fisherman Quint, Chief Brody, and the young marine biologist Matt Hooper go out on Quint's boat, the Orca, to put an end to the killer shark.
Jaws is the ultimate shark movie, and part of the reason is the shark, Bruce. He was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. And the reason he's so scary is most of the time we don't see him. This was done because the mechanical shark was almost never working. So they had to get creative and find ways to just suggest his presence.
They use point-of-view shots from the shark's perspective, and we hear the shark theme music. Dun 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 dun. So we know it's coming, which is incredibly suspenseful. Then we see the terror and devastation of the victims. Also, at one point, Chief Brody is thumbing through a book about sharks, and all this gives us the ammunition to imagine what's going on underwater, and nothing is scarier than our own imaginations.
The first half of the movie builds our anticipation, and in the later sections, we get the payoff of actually seeing it. Now, there are a few shots of an actual great white shark, but most of it is Bruce the mechanical one.
Hooper, slow ahead, if you please.
You heard him, slow ahead. Slow ahead. I could go slow ahead. Why don't you come down and jump some of this stuff?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
The first shot of the shark actually looks really good, so it pulls you in. After that, some shots are more realistic than others, but regardless, it's always effective.
Part of it is they keep the shark moving, so you can't really study its flaws. And because it's not CGI, thank heavens. So it has texture, it has weight. So perfect looking or not, it's really there and it's coming to get ya. So the shark has personality. It's bigger than other sharks. It thinks, it makes strategies, it has its own theme song. So you don't have to believe it's a real great white shark, because you believe it's the movie's a monster, and that's why it's scary. However, the shark wouldn't be anywhere near as scary if we didn't care about the movie's characters.
Dun 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 dun.
The shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
The movie focuses on the three guys that go out to kill the shark: Chief Brody, Matt Hooper, and Quint. Spielberg made the characters more likable than they were in the book, and because of the production delays, the three actors had more time than they ever imagined to work on their scenes. They were able to contribute to the script, add comedy, and really bring out the best in their characters. And the main one is the chief of the Amity Police Department, Martin Brody, is played by Roy Scheider. Chief Brody is a former New York cop, and this is his first summer in Amity. So he's an outsider just like we are. He's a good policeman. He's a loving husband and father, but realistically, he's not perfect. He never finds the time to fix anything at home. He hates the water. And he doesn't know how to fight town politics. So even though he knows there's a killer shark out there, he's not able to protect the people and get the beaches closed. We're going to bring on the extra summer deputies as soon as possible. And then we're going to use shark spotters on the beach. Are you going to close the beaches? Yes, we are. Only 24 hours. Only 24 hours. I didn't agree to that.
Also, he doesn't know anything about shark hunting, so there's an everyman and underdog quality to his character that's easy to relate to, but because of his strength, he's able to overcome these obstacles and be the hero.
After Brody, there's the marine biologist Matt Hooper, played by Richard Dreyfuss. Hooper is young and scruffy looking, but he's also intelligent and comes from a very wealthy family. I wonder if he has a sister.
Dreyfuss was a new star on the Hollywood scene, so off-screen and on, he was pretty cocky, causing Robert Shaw, off-screen and on, to dislike him. And that overconfidence of both Hooper and Quint caused them both to make mistakes. But Hooper also has this goofy likability where you tend to look past it.
I got red and white wine. I didn't know what you'd be serving. Anyone eating this?
Finally, there's Robert Shaw as the grisly and eccentric shark hunter Quint. And for me, he steals the show. Shaw was a hard-drinking actor and writer, and Quint is a combination of Moby Dick's Captain Ahab, the shark hunter Frank Mundus, Martha's Vineyard's own crazy local fisherman Craig Kingsbury, and of Robert Shaw himself, whom always radiated a large, powerful, and intense personality. Quint's boat, the Orca, is an extension of his own persona. It's the Quintmobile. Both in its name, the Orca is the great white shark's only enemy, and in its design, which only an old salt would have.
You fair Spanish ladies.
Quint, don't put that much pressure on it.
Stop! Get back there! I break the engine! You ladies of Spain! Quint's passion is killing sharks! And he doesn't care if he puts himself or others in danger. Nothing will stop him from trying to achieve his goal. But there's a reason for that attitude. When he was in World War II, he was on the ship the USS Indianapolis, which was torpedoed by the Japanese, and all the soldiers were stranded in the shark-infested waters of the Pacific Ocean. Sometimes the shark go away, sometimes it wouldn't go away. Sometimes the shark look right at you, right into your eyes. You know the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. Then those black eyes roll over white. Then you hear the terrible high-pitched screaming. The ocean turns red. And despite all the pounding and the hollering, they're all coming in, rip you to pieces. Robert Shaw's acting and writing in that scene are magnificent, and it's Spielberg's favorite part of the movie. All three actors are so charismatic and funny, so it's fun to be on the adventure with them. But they also bring so much depth to their characters and to their relationship. So the non-shark scenes are just as good as the shark ones. And that's why Jaws is the best shark movie ever made.
I like Sharknado.
Another reason why Jaws is the best shark movie ever made is the setting. Your lunch is over there. Jaws was made on the island of Martha's Vineyard in New England, and they take full advantage of it. They show off the buildings, the piers, and the harbor, and these structures have so much character to them.
Also, most of the small parts were actually played by the locals, like Craig Kingsbury, who played Ben Gardner. And they bring this New England authenticity to it. So like a Mark Twain novel, Jaws is just dripping with local color. The reason Martha's Vineyard was chosen was because Spielberg thought that if the audience saw land, it would ruin the tension, because why don't they just go back to shore? But in Martha's Vineyard, you could go 12 miles out to sea and still have a sandy bottom that was only 30 feet deep, which was perfect for the mechanical shark.
Not only does it keep the tension alive, but because they're out in the real ocean, and you can tell it's the real ocean, it feels like a real adventure, and that you're on a real adventure with them. So it's more fun, more exciting, and more scary, because the real ocean has a dramatic quality to it too. The best movies are able to transport you to another world, and when you watch Jaws, you feel totally transported to Amity Island.
In those days, movies were typically released city by city, so it could take a few months for everyone to see it. But because Jaws took place during the summer, they wanted people to see it during the summer, so it was released in hundreds of theaters simultaneously. It was the first film to make over $100 million, and it started the summer blockbuster. Jaws became a phenomenon, and it's made generations of fans too afraid to go into the water. It also turned Steven Spielberg into one of Hollywood's top directors. Unfortunately, the film also demonized sharks, and it's led to a dangerous increase in shark hunting. Jaws writer Peter Benchley spent the later part of his life trying to preserve these magnificent animals. As for Frank Mundus, he was always annoyed that Benchley never acknowledged his contribution, and said that Jaws was the funniest and stupidest movie he had ever seen.
Incidentally, this was a present from when I was 12 years old, and I didn't actually kill the shark myself. I know how shocked you must be. When Alfred Hitchcock made Psycho, his goal was to show the world how awesome a horror movie could be. Jaws is a perfect example of how awesome a monster movie could be. So I give it 4 old people who wear bad hats out of 4. Thank you for watching Dusty Old Movies, and have fun swimming.